Hey everyone, welcome back to my studio. My name's Allison from the Creative Web. So today we are doing a very exciting project. It is a mixed media painting on a wooden block. This wooden block has already been pre-painted. I bought it this way, and it is a semi-gloss coating on this. So I'm going to be doing a floral scene on this wooden block, and as my outline, I am using some school glue that I have tinted black with just some black acrylic paint. And I have transferred some of that black glue into this little squeeze bottle that has a teeny tiny fine opening on the end. So it has a long metal tip. I believe these are often used, well, I guess you could use them if you were making your own alcohol ink or something like that. But I believe they're often used for soap making, candle making for the oils and things like that, the scents and fragrances. But I have found that this size tip works really nicely when you're trying to do a glue resist outline. So that's what we're going to be doing, and let's I'm going to speed this up here. I didn't sketch it out ahead of time. I don't have a real good plan about what I wanted to do, but I had this kind of idea in mind of just this whole wood block in flowers, and then with leaves and foliage in the background. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to fill it up. Before I go any further, I want to tell you that this project had multiple fails during it. And so at this point, it was in my mind that I was going to use this glue resist as I have on paper before. So I use this technique on watercolor paper, and so the glue resists the watercolor paints, and you can then go in with the paper once the glue's dry and paint kind of like a paint by number or like a coloring page with your watercolor paints. So at this point, that is what I had in mind I was going to be doing. And so this is kind of the first process, and I had never done it before on a wooden block, but I thought it would make a really cool piece to put on a shelf or on a desk. It would be really nice at work. So in my head at this point, this is what I was going to do. So I'm going to fill in the rest of this block with the outline, the black glue outline, and we will continue on to the next step. Alright, so now that I have all the glue down, I'm going to add glitter, because I want my outline to sparkle. And it's also, the glue is 3D, it stands up. So I am just adding some black fine craft glitter. That one was purchased at Wal-Mart. And there we go. Okay, so it's all dry. I'm going to get all the excess glitter off of it, and here I am with all of my watercolors. I even bought this really cheap set of like pearlescent watercolors, and I thought they'd be like really pretty on this piece. So I start putting it on, and it hits me that, duh, like this board is coated with like a semi-gloss paint, and watercolor is not going to like stick to it. Like it's gonna bead off of it. So here I reconvened and pulled out my pouring paints and decided to go forward, not with the watercolor, because that's not going to work. Like semi gloss paint, gloss paint like resists water. So yeah, that was the first fail, I would say. But that's okay. We moved on. I pulled out my pouring paints and we are filling in the lines as we go. So this process took quite a while. It was still a fun project to do, even though filling this in with paints like in this manner kind of took a long time. But if you're somebody who likes to color or likes to paint for relaxation, for stress relief, this is a really great project for you. It was kind of mindless. Like if you could, watch TV while you're doing it. It's not something that you need to focus on. You could listen to a podcast. So I will watch how I finish out painting in all of the flowers and the leaves and the foliage, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here it is, still wet. We just finished painting it. You can see that the outline still has sparkle. But let's come back once it's completely dry and move on to the next step. All right, so here we are. This is the back of the piece. I am coating the back and sides with a black gesso. It is the gesso black gesso that I use for everything. If something is coated black, then I typically use this. It is super opaque and very matte. It provides great coverage, and it's my favorite gesso. I picked up this Prism varnish. It's by Color Pour. Picked it up at, I believe, Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Hobby Lobby, I think. And it was on sale on an end cap. And so I picked up a couple of them because they were originally like 3 or 4 times the price. So I thought, well, I'll use them for something. And I thought this would be a great thing to add a little bit of like a prismatic shimmer to it. So the instructions weren't very clear. It said just to shake, and then it showed you mixing it with something and then pouring it on. I'm assuming you could dilute it and put it on like kind of like a puddle pour, like, so you would just pour it on, dilute it and pour it on, and it would coat your whole canvas. I thought it would be something similar to some of the other varnishes I've used, but as I put it on, I could see it was very thick, and I thought it would self-level a little bit more, but it didn't. So with some of the excess I put on it, I did the edges, but with my brush, I could not get it to like level out. I probably put too much on, but I didn't think I thought it would level more than it did. So here I am removing some of the excess onto just a rag. And typically when I do varnish, I use a small like foam roller. I didn't on this one because the piece is so small, and I don't reuse my foam rollers very often. So I just took a little foam brush and smoothed it out, and that made a world of difference. But as you can see here in the close-up, this Prism varnish is not prismatic. It is straight glitter. So I believe diluting it would have helped with that as well. But I was under the impression that it wouldn't have just chunks of glitter in it. It would have more of a shimmer. I don't know what prism means to you. To me, it meant something a little bit different. So at this point, I would call this my second fail of this project. You can see on the sides there with the black that it is straight just glitter. And it looks super muddy. You can't see the detail through it. And I think this is a big fail. But let's move on. So to fix it, I decided to coat it with resin. I have 2 other little pieces that'll be in a different video that I'm coating at the same time. So, but I'm going to use this amazing clear cast. I use this quite often. And so I've mixed up my resin, and we are hoping and sending good thoughts into this piece that this will work. Resin often, it makes something have more clarity. It can bring out details in it. It makes colors pop. So we're hoping for a miracle here, because currently this piece looks not great. And all that time that I spent hand painting this, dry time, is looking like it might be a waste. So I am just going to pour resin on and, spread it out with my stick, and then go over it with my torch. Easy peasy. I use resin all the time. Not a big deal. However, when the resin dried, one of the corners pulled back, and I actually ended up having to do a second coat to get it to cover. So fail number 3, but Let's move on. So here we are. Here's the finished piece. It's not my favorite piece, but people who have seen it said that they love it. They think it's beautiful, and I do too, but I believe I have too much into it to really appreciate it for what it is. The resin worked great. It covered it. It made that Prism varnish look not so terrible. And here it is. You can see the sheen, you can see the detail, and it looks beautiful. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming on this journey with me through multiple fails to this final success. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.